Hi and welcome to my hair tutorial. Thank you for buying. Bear with me, I haven't done a tutorial for a very long time, so I'm not quite used to talking to my computer. But this is the hair tutorial. As you can see, I've not done anything with the screenie yet. I always start off 160 times 220, and I always use a avatar that has hair already. I just think if you're starting out and you're a beginner at hair, which I'm guessing you are, if you've bought this tutorial, you want to improve your hair, I just find it so much easier to use one that already has hair because you can go and use the way that the hair flows already. So, better turn my sound off. Let's get going. Before I start, it's worth saying I always use colours off the screenie's hair or colours that I like to use, but if you struggle picking colours, then on DeviantArt, is that how people say it? There's lots of hair palettes like this. I use this one quite frequently for the black hair down here. So this would be the base colour, which I'll show you in a second. Then they all go in this order here. But yeah, I use this one for the black hair, but other than that I don't usually use them. But this one is by Starship Sorceress on DeviantArt, so if you put that into DeviantArt you will find her. But yeah, it's got loads on here. And even if you type in hair palette chart or hair palettes into DeviantArt, loads of these will come up. Just make sure you read the rules before you use them. But yeah, today I'm going to do red hair. So start off, I always make new layer sets, which is this button here, and rename it to what I'm doing. It just makes things easier and you can control everything that's there. So then a new layer, and I choose the darkest colour that I want the hair base to be. So if you were using a palette like this, you'd use the darkest colour. And I get the pen tool, put it on 100 density, and I presume these are size normal settings. I haven't changed these, but I have that from normal, whatever this little edge shape apparently. Size obviously doesn't matter. And this is what my advanced settings look like. Again, I've never changed them. So I get the pen, doesn't really matter what size, but I just colour in all the hair shape. Colour in, that's such a bad word, but basically just block out what you want your hair shape to be. This hair's actually a bit more pink than red, but I'm going to do more red because I want this pre-made to be quite a dark theme. But yeah, colour all of this in, as you can see me doing. Again, I follow the hair shape unless there's something I don't like about it, but I tend to pick hair on the catalogue that I do like. If I'm doing a pre-made and if I'm doing a custom, then I just go with it. But you can change it, sometimes I do change it, or you find afterwards you don't like it and you can go back to deleting stuff. I also hate ears. I don't know why I picked one that had an ear out, but never mind. She's got a bit going across that like that. So there we go, we've got that. So then make a new layer, and if you're using your own colours, see this little colour wheel up here, I always go just a little bit up, or sometimes up and left. But it's up to you what you want to do there. I'll go up and left. Then I get the marker tool and go for 9px brush size. These are all my marker settings. Blending is 54, persistence is 57, density 100, and square, normal. The only thing I change with the marker is the size. So we're going to draw the basic strands first. What I do here is I always make this layer invisible by clicking this eye, and just follow, drawing a few hair strands following the, I don't know how to say it, hair flow, the way that the hair falls already, or just getting a basic idea for it anyway. You won't be able to see what you're drawing if it's the same colour anyway, just hope that it is looking okay. Then you can see it's a little bit messy as you go back on, and then just fill in the bits around it, or you can do it, trace it for the whole way if you want, the actual screenie's hair, but I just fill in the bits. And as you can see, it resembles nothing like hair at the minute, but it will, don't worry. Then it's just straight on this side, which makes no sense whatsoever. Who does their hair like that? But never mind. So then, oh, sorry, if you're using a hair palette, it's the second colour. Then again, new layer again, a bit brighter again. And this time we're going for 5px, still with the marker tool. And you are now going through and adding smaller strands. For this one I still go all the way from the top to the bottom, filling in those gaps. As you can see, I'm deleting lines quite a lot. I'm using a shortcut which is Ctrl and Z to undo it, and it's just so if I don't like it I get to do it again quite easy. As you can see, I do it quite a lot, so don't worry if none of them are coming out right, because neither do mine. Just a lot of trial and error, unfortunately. I hope most of you can understand my accent, my British strange accent. If not, well, we've got a bit of a problem, don't we? People think curly hair is actually one of the hardest to do, but I prefer curly or wavy hair. I actually find straight hair quite hard, because it's worth mentioning now that straight hair does not just go down, 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 like this. You've seen on your own hair, it doesn't go down. So with straight hair, I always try and get a bit of a curve on it maybe, or a few strands going other ways, but yeah, it never goes straight down. And the other side. See how I'm doing this instead of going straight down? I'm pretty sure this bit came back like this. So, as you can see, it's starting to take a bit of shape, but still looks nothing like hair, really. I really need to burp, but this is... I'll probably edit that bit out if I can be bothered. So, new layer, and we're going brighter again with the colour, and this time we're going for 3px on the marker tool still. And this time we're not going to go through the whole lines, but just key points of the line. So, anywhere where it changes direction or kind of is a point where you think the light would hit it, you're gonna go and do this. So not all the way from the top to the bottom of the strands, but a lot of it. Now's a good time as well to say that if you're a mouse user, this probably isn't the best way for you, because it's going to take a very long time. I know a lot of people use brushes. They've got hair textures on them that you can get. I'm not sure where from, because I've never used them, but if you, I don't know, post a help question on the forum, I'm sure someone can answer that. I'm just talking to fill the silence while I do all of this bit. Didn't mean to do that. Oh, by the way, if I stop talking very, in the middle of a sentence or whatever, it's probably I'm at my family home right now. I'm not at home. I've come back home for a little bit. I say a little bit, it's a couple of days, but so yeah, if my family come downstairs, that will be me going silent for a few seconds and then editing it out later on. So if anything I say doesn't make sense, it's because I stopped recording in the middle of it. That's not looking right. Like I say, you can see me making lots of mistakes, but they are all fixable. This is why I do everything on a new layer as well. Then one last one. Well, you can do as many as you want, but new layer. I'm going to go up and right a bit now to get a bit more of saturation in it. And I'm going to go 1.5px. And now we are literally doing tiny bits in the middle of the hair. Like the middle of the hair strands, not the middle of the hair itself. or anywhere that you think it stands out right. Just gives it a bit more depth, that's the word I'm after. At this point my hand really starts to hurt. And don't be afraid to go out of the lines, it doesn't matter if it goes out of the lines, because believe it or not, hair isn't neat unless you've spent like 600 hours on it, which is never how I do my hair, so as long as you've got no strands coming from like some random places, it is fine. Oops, done it again. And so there, we've done most of the base strands. Now what I do is I make a layer underneath the base layer. Sometimes you can do it above. You take the pen tool and take that to around 80ish, and usually use sort of like a 3 brush. Just take a random colour from your colour picker and start just adding strands coming out with the hair. You can do this as you're like drawing it all, but I always go through and do it after, because I'm not very good at it, so it needs a bit more attention. This bit looks very straight down over here. Looks a bit better. Into, oops, the face. And there we go. And then a lot of the time I do this, but you don't have to. If you're happy with your colour now, that's fine. But I merge all these layers together by pressing this little button here. It's merge down layer. Then I go on to filter, brightness and contrast, and either put the brightness up or down, and just play around with these tools until I really like how the hair looks. So that's what I've got instead. So if I show you the difference, so that's before, that's after using that tool. As you can see, it makes it a bit more vivid. And then sometimes, not all the time again, and this is completely optional, make a new layer, go to the marker tool, 0.8, pick a colour from your hair, go lighter, and then just do what we did before, but very little bits. Just because I always get worried that some of the detail gets lost when we do the step that I just showed you, so you don't have to do that step. I do it mostly with black hair. I always think that my black hair doesn't look dark enough, and to me this just didn't look red enough. It looked more pink than red, and I want the dark red hair. As you can see, there's a bit of a difference, not too much. And then make a new layer. I'd set the layer mode to overlay, which is up here, and then I get black, a brush. Again, I don't change my brush settings ever, apart from the size, so I don't know if these are the original settings again, but I have density on 73, blending 22, dilution 22, and persistence 72, and keep opacity unchecked. Doesn't matter what size brush you use, but I just colour in bits that you think should be darker, so anything that's under the chin area, like around here, always near the roots, and just anything where the hair overlaps and you think, oh actually that in real life that would be darker there. And then get the blur tool, or the, I'll say blur actually, and again I never change my settings for the blur tool. The density is 49, the blending is 70, dilution 72, persistence 78, keep opacity is ticked, and smoothing PRS is 100%. Doesn't matter what size, I'm going to go for 16, and literally just, I'm going to go for a bit bigger actually, 35. Go in the direction of the hair, just makes it a bit easier. Going to go for the smaller ones around the other bit, so 12. And just so you can't see the blockiness of it anymore, it's a bit more blended in. I know a lot of people are against using the blur tool. I like the blur tool. And then zoom out and lower the opacity of the layer as much as you think. I'm actually just going to do a bit more down here because it's not looking the same as up there. Oops. I probably should have said at the start as a disclaimer, this is how I do hair. You don't have to do your hair like this. You can pick and choose which steps you do, it's all up to you. Then zoom out and lower the opacity of the layer, which is under the mode, until you think it looks nice. Then I just zoom in, get the eraser tool, and just go over the edges that aren't hair, just so you know it's not getting places it's not meant to. Then same again, new layer, layer mode overlay, but this time I'm going to use white. And this time I use the airbrush. Again, I never change the airbrush settings. Density is just 100. Get the 0.7, and I just draw these sort of like, I don't know, it kind of looks like the line that you see on a heart thing, like your heart rate, and then just draw that wherever you think there should be highlights. And again, blur tool, I use a much smaller one this time, we'll go for 9. And blur, that's it. Ta-da! And that is done. That is how I do hair. And I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Hopefully you brought the other tutorials, and I'll be going on to do the eyes, nose and skin and things like that. But yeah, I hope you found this helpful. Please leave a review if it is something that helped you out, and show me what you made with it. Thank you.